Hello guys, welcome to IntuBoxing. This is Melissa Zad reporting here with the man himself, Eddie Hearn. Just finished the press conference. How do you think that went, Eddie?
I think it was great. I mean, I like to sort of dig into the minds a little bit and try and rattle the guys. And I think I think Liam Smith's still got this feeling of, I can't believe you asked me to fight Fowler. You know, I'm up here, and this guy's not capable of beating me. He's not on my level. And then Fowler, I thought, was nice and calm. You know, and obviously Liam Smith's got to be ready for this fight because it's probably going to get really tough in there and brutal. And obviously, when you want something so bad and you're so excited for something like Fowler, you know, and you've got another guy that's sort of a bit, why am I doing this? I think it's a dangerous mentality. But saying that, Liam Smith is incredibly tough. He's incredibly skillful. He is a world level fighter, and he does have the experience going into the fight. Do
you feel that Liam Smith is maybe overlooking Fowler as an opponent?
Yes, but he knows enough about him. You know, this is a big city but a small city, especially when you're talking about boxing in Liverpool. He would have seen him in the amateurs, he knew him as a kid, he's watched him as a pro. He just thinks he's much better. I think he would have trained hard because I think he'll want to do a job on Fowler. There's too much at stake in this city. Like, forget belts and everything. If Liam Smith loses, he'll have trouble going out of his house.
Yes.
Like next week and the week after. So he wouldn't make the mistake of under-preparing.
I mean, you mentioned that, you know, bragging rights came up in the press conference, but actually it's quite a lot deeper than that, it being a Liverpudlian derby.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, judging by the press conference, what the energy that Anthony Fowler was giving, and obviously having Shane McGuigan with him, he seems very focused, razor sharp at the moment. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and I think that Liam's always been a little bit of a chip on the shoulder kid, you know, not in a bad way, but like, you know, he's a bit different to his brothers in that he's the one that's always a little bit more, you know, outspoken and not nasty, but snarly a little bit, if you like. And I think that's that when a trainer like Shane McGuigan can really come into it and actually keep you locked in camp. Like, Fowler hasn't got involved in anything in this camp. You know, you've not seen him arguing with people on social media. That sort of stuff can drain you. You know, just having that negativity around you and disputing with people. So I think you're going to get the best Anthony Fowler. Whether it's good enough to beat Liam Smith, we shall see on Saturday. But you're going to get a big, strong Fowler that's coming to win. And I think it can only be a great fight.
Well, we're definitely looking forward to it. A lot of people are sat on the fence regarding the result.
I'm trying to get people to make their picks. It's really difficult in Liverpool because no one really wants to pick their winner.
They don't want to get
You
involved,
know, but it's like everyone's got their pick. Like, these two don't like each other. They don't hate each other. They're not. But just in Liverpool, people from different ends, people from different amateur clubs, generally you don't like people, certain people. So there's a lot that comes into this. There's, you know, the Golden Gloves with Fowler, there's the Rotunda, there's his GB mates, there's the brothers, there's all these different dynamics. And I think because Fowler's not wanted to play that game, it hasn't got as nasty as it could have got, which is good, really. But Fowler's gone, I don't want to go there because I did that against Fitzgerald. And I boxed shit and I exuded my energy, and I don't need to do that in this fight. I've got to be at my best. I need to be perfect to win this fight. And I think you'll get the perfect version of Anthony Fowler. But again, is that good enough to beat Liam Smith? Liam's in great shape, you know, and he wants to win desperately.
And which way are you leaning?
Hard when you got both guys. Like, when I made the fight, Liam texted me and said, I'm going to knock out your golden boy. And I was like, my golden boy? Like, Fowler's never said that he's my golden boy. Like, and Fowler probably thinks that I want Liam Smith to win. Honestly, like, literally, fill the arena up, give them loads of money, and say, if you win, you're in a great position. If you lose, you'll be back. But good luck. But it's really difficult because you can't show any emotion because I sit right in the middle of the camera. It was like when Callum Smith boxed Rocky Fielding and knocked him out in a round. I just had to sit there. You know, and really I was emotionless because I didn't, you know, I wasn't, I hope he wins secretly. So I have to just sit there like that. I can't go, good shot, or whoa. Because when they watch it back, they go, I see you jumping when I got knocked out. You know, so you can't win.
Yes, I mean I mean the fight itself, you know, both the boxers are in a position where they need to win, you know, and actually a lot of the fights on the card are kind of in a similar position. What other fights are you really looking forward to on the night?
It's just such a great card. I mean, you got even earlier in the night, you got Luke Willis against Ryland Charlton, Camille Sopolovsky against Solomon Dakis, great fight. Kieran Conway against JJ Metcalf, amazing fight. Peter McGraw's pro debut. Shannon Courtney against Jamie Mitchell, brilliant fight. Ted Cheeseman against Troy Williamson. For me, if there wasn't Smith Fowler, that's a clear fight of the night contender. And then the main event. So top to bottom, just one of the best shows we put on.
In a sold-out arena as well.
Exactly, but it shows you when you get it right. Especially here, they're not stupid here. You know, they know their boxing. I've done shows here that haven't been good, and no one's come.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you put on a good show, saw it today. I've had press conferences here where 10 people turn up. But all of a sudden you say, come along, and you get 300 or 400 people.
Well, it was packed.
Yeah, and the weigh-in will be the same tomorrow. That's because they're proper fighting people, and they know great boxing. They know great nights, and Saturday's a great night. Yes.
Let's touch quickly on the Shannon Courtney Jamie Mitchell fight. It's a really tough fight for Shannon. Obviously, Jamie Mitchell has achieved a lot in the amateurs. This is a test for her, and she looks like she's really ready to do the business. Was that the energy that you were getting from her in the press conference?
She's quite scary, wasn't she?
She was scary.
She's like an old school. These fighters, they train, you know, in proper old school gyms. Some of the Brian Cohen guys train there in Philly. Tough gyms, you know, and well-schooled gyms. And when someone was a good amateur, you know that they've got good fundamentals. And Shannon, although boxed as an amateur, didn't, you know, win masses of ABAs and stuff like that. So, and she's had really competitive fights against Rachel Ball and Ebony Bridges. So they feel that they're a massive favourite going in this fight, Jamie Mitchell. But Shannon's tough and she's tenacious as well. Great story, Jamie Mitchell. I mean, you know, there's always someone with a tougher story, isn't there? You know, like you talk about people from inner city London and how they found boxing and stuff like this. Then you go to Mexico and you start seeing where these guys come from and you realise how tough they are. And then you hear Jamie Mitchell's story, you know how tough she is. Like, she's not going to just fold over. So I think that's going to be a great fight. You know, there's always a debate about the 2 and 3 minute rounds. I'm okay with the 2 minute rounds because it's non-stop action. And whilst you're trying to convert people from women's boxing to men's boxing, I don't think you need to convert people, but that's the fact. You need to get people attracted to it. If there's more action, if there's more excitement, people are going to be more engaged. So I do think we need to move to 3 minute rounds, but I'm happy at the moment with the 2s because I think it's exciting and it's fast. It's a fast pace, and therefore people are excited and enjoying it, and we need more people to enjoy women's boxing because we can continue to grow.
Absolutely, it's a transition, isn't it? I mean, you know, 5 years ago you weren't seeing as many women in front of the television boxing, so you know everything
takes time. You know, and people talk about, oh, you know, we're not getting paid as much money as the men. Correct, but I tell you what, we ain't far off. You know, for the big stars, they're getting what they deserve now. It's the lower level where there's too much discrepancy between what men are getting and what women are getting. I keep saying that if you become a world champion in female boxing, you can do it after 4, 5, 6 fights without really fighting any tough fights. Whereas in the males code, you have to really go through wars and tough fights to get to that world championship level because there's more liquidity in the division. So you can't expect as a female world champion necessarily to make the same money as a male world champion that's done all this other stuff and has more profile and a bigger platform and all this kind of stuff. What must happen is that when they're on the same level, they get the same money. That's equality, that's fairness. It's not sometimes about male or female, it's just about the value of a fight. Same as if it's one British title fight, will get paid differently to another British title fight because that fight has more interest, more value. You know, so
it's a business.
But it is, but at the same time, where the discrepancy is in female boxing is what fighters will sometimes make for 4s and 6 and 8 rounders. That's where there's a different kind of, although that's changing. You know, and the opponents that you bring in now are actually sometimes they're making more than male opponents in the same position because there isn't liquidity. If you need a super bantamweight opponent for a 6-round fight, there's only 3 or 4 of them that you can choose for a young fighter coming through. I'm waffling a bit now, but
no, it's interesting. Carry on.
Yeah, that's the situation.
Well, no, I mean, I think the whole face of female boxing has really changed, and hopefully it will change. It will grow even further.
On the rise.
Let's talk quickly about Solomon Dakis and his opponent. Obviously, we saw a very controversial defeat against David Adelaide, which a lot of people are saying was a win.
Yes.
With Camille Sopolovsky, and now he's facing Solomon Dakis on Solomon's 3rd professional fight. That's a tough one.
Really tough one, because the truth is that Camille Sopolovsky could fight for a European title. He's that kind of level, right? He's number 2 in Poland. I think there's 25 Polish heavyweights. He's number 2. He did beat David Adelaide. Let's not dress it up. I mean, he won that fight convincingly. And he understands the game, the sport. He knows how to win, and this is a really dangerous fight for Dakis. I love that he's taking it, and Sam Jones believes in his guys, and it could be a terrible idea or a brilliant bit of matchmaking, but we'll find out.
I mean, it looked like Camille was ready to fight anyone in Liverpool.
He's a tough man. I mean, we can talk about people's stories, like Camille's had a few tear-ups in his time, and he's a tough man.
I mean, the heavyweight division, there's a lot going on in it at the moment. What's your prediction for Saturday night, Fury Wilder?
I think Fury wins on points. I thought he looked a little bit more dialed in yesterday, and it's a good fight. Wilder's limited in some respects, but also very, very dangerous. So I think Tyson Fury will box clever, and I think he'll win on points.
And obviously we've seen that the WBC have ordered that the winner of Fury Wilder will go on to face Dillian Whyte. That's kind of the trajectory we want Dillian on at the moment. Yeah,
we wait for official notification of that, and there's a lot of stuff going on between the parties, but looks like a step in the right direction. They said that the winner of Fury Wilder will get 30 days to negotiate with Alexander Usyk. That can't happen because he's under contract to fight AJ. So it looks like Dillian Whyte's in a great position.
After facing Wallen, obviously.
Yeah, tough fight as well. So we'll see what happens. I spoke to Aaron last night. Will Joshua step aside? I said no. Don't worry about it. I said worry about Saturday. Because this is heavyweight boxing. Anything can happen.
Anything could happen, exactly. Well, Eddie, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us.
Cheers.